Hey, what's the best way to settle arguments in a marriage? Well, Jay's here, I'm here, the marriage pros are gonna tell you, give you certain ways to be able to settle these arguments once and for all and still stay married. But before that, if you make it to the end of the show, please by all means consider a like, consider a subscribe. If you want to get crazy, do both. We love it all, we're here for you, we just want to make sure you stay married. So, make it through the end, click something. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Let's start with my favorite one, which is one-on-one. What does that mean? Just you and your partner handling your business, okay? I feel this is the best way. Don't let anybody else know what's going on. Just settle it between you two, because at the end of the day, you two are the ones that are going to benefit or are going to continue suffering if you don't take care of this between you two. This is one of the things that hopefully you know about yourself, that you chose this partner because if something happens, conflict, both of you are going to disagree on something at some point, okay? Even the Disneyland fairy tale married couples, you're going to go through something like this. You have to know, am I going to be able to approach my partner? What is the approach? And how can we get through this? But ultimately, you, one, and one. Keep it in-house. That is the best way, and hopefully you two know how to take care of this so both of you could just get past the situation, get past the debacle, and be on your merry way until, unfortunately, maybe the next argument. But nonetheless, keep it in-house. That is the best way. That's what I've told my wife from jump, that I would like for us to be able to keep it between you and me, okay? I feel this is the best way. How did I do this? Again, because I kind of screwed up at the beginning before we were married, and I would ask other people their opinions. Not the way to go. So I finally realized this was hurting me more. So keep it in-house. Trust us here. We know what we're talking about. Just keep it between you and your partner.
When conflict comes up, because it will come up sooner or later, eventually, you don't want to, as Mafuchi said, say it outside of the relationship. You go tell your friends, your family. Now, especially if people don't like who you're with, they're going to try to throw stuff in there. It's like, oh, well, yeah, you should go ahead and break up and get divorced and all that other mumbo jumbo, right? So you want to keep stuff in-house. You never want to put your business out there, because I know if someone is always telling me something about they don't like this, and that about their spouse, I'm going to look at their spouse a little differently. Now, it could just be one-sided. I might know the other person's side, but that's one thing you want to avoid, is always telling someone all the negative stuff and never telling any of the good stuff. I understand that there's times where it's like, okay, I need another voice, another person to, okay, is it me just thinking this? To get another opinion, you want to keep everything in house. If you write it down, read it over, you might get some clarity that way. But you never, ever want to take your problems that's going between you and your spouse and then bring someone else in. It's never the way to go, unless you're going to go to a professional therapist.
Now, as Jay and I talked about, sometimes you may want to involve people. You have your family for a reason, and if you're good with your family, why not? Hell, even friends, the family that you choose. More so if they're in a relationship or if they're married. You just want to pick their brain, because especially if they've been in a relationship or marriage for so long, you think, hey, they may know a thing or two. I think they've talked about this in their marriage. I'm going through this. Let me check their opinion. You kind of have to toe the line with that, okay? Because their opinion may not be yours, and essentially they may be leading the witness. They may be putting that little nugget in your head of, okay, this made sense. Let me talk to my partner about this. Even though it may not be necessarily what I think about the situation, they have more experience. This is not the way to go, okay? So you will tread lightly, because two different marriages, two different situations. You really have to know the person you're talking to and if they're the right one. And hey, sometimes it could be the right person and maybe they help you throughout. But for the most part, just take it with a grain of salt. Try to not depend on this type of process, because you and your partner are married. It's not you and your family members, not you and your friend that are married to your partner. It's you and them. You have to remember that at the end of the day. Like I mentioned in previous, the way I reached the point that I want to keep it in-house is because I was talking to friends and family, and they weren't always giving me the best advice, and sometimes they wouldn't even be in a relationship or marriage, and that's really my fault. Why am I going to ask somebody that doesn't know about this? That was foolish of me. So I learned early on the hard way, this is not the way to go. Now granted, not all the advice was bad, okay? Every now and again there was a nugget here and there I could pick, and it would work. But really, try not to, all right? This is not a marriage between anybody else but you and your spouse.
Okay, what I will say about this is, if you have a trusted person in your life, family or friend, don't ask someone for marriage advice if they are not married and if they haven't been in a long-term happy marriage. If someone's in a okay marriage, you know it's kind of toxic or whatever, don't ask them for advice, because one, they're going to root for you to fail. Two, you want to be able to, okay, if I'm going to so-and-so, they're not going to tell my business out in these streets. So you need to be very careful who you talk to if you're going to talk to someone about your marital issues. If anything, I would say go to a pastor or a therapist. Those would probably be the best ones to speak to, because one, you shouldn't have to worry about your business getting out there. But if you know each other well enough to resolve an argument, don't answer because you heard something you didn't like. Listen to what the person is saying, take it in, and then kind of reply after that. Not just, okay, I didn't hear this, and then whatever else they were saying after that. There's like, you just made this one point that I didn't like, but I didn't hear anything else you said. You might have made some good points, but I heard one thing I didn't like. I'm just gonna attack that and go off of that, and you're acting like you're in court of law, and it's not necessary. If you have a trusted person who you know gives good advice and who you know has been in a good marriage, that's one thing. As Mafuchi said, you can't take it to everybody, because some people are rooting for you to fail. Believe it or not, they're rooting for you to fail. All right, this is something that me and my wife, we constantly do. It's agree. I like to call agree to disagree, just because we don't agree on a lot, right? So whenever you are having a discussion or argument about something that you're passionate about and feel strongly about, that you're right, and the other person feels the same way about their situation and they're right, it's better to agree to disagree. Put out your points. Let them know, okay, I really feel strongly about this. So there's no someone's trying to convince someone to do something that they don't like or follow along with. So this is what me and my wife, we really do, is like, okay, if we can make our points and the person agrees, we're shocked, we're amazed, right? But most of the time, we just don't agree on everything as far as what we're talking about. So we just agree to disagree. So it makes our marriage more healthier. It's like, okay, I know where you stand. You know where I stand. We're not going to meet in the middle here. And there's no use of fighting about it, because like it's no point, because someone can get a little bitter if someone's always having to go along with whatever you agree upon to, knowing they don't feel that way. So there's going to be time. Well, I'm not going to say, yeah, there's going to be times where you're going to not agree, and that's okay, and it's healthy. Just know that, okay, it's not the end all be all. Pick your battles, pick your fights, but it's better to agree to disagree than to, okay, go along to get along, to make sure someone's happy, so you don't worry about them either nagging you or getting on your nerves about X, Y, and Z.
I actually enjoy this one. Agree to disagree, because like Jay mentioned, you two are not always gonna come to terms with a situation, an argument. There will be times where it's just, you're just hitting each other against the wall, or hitting each other in the head, because one point is not better than the other and vice versa. So you just have to say, all right, we laid it all out there. We still can't agree with one or the other, so we let it go. The only thing about that is my wife is not a person that wants to agree to disagree. She wants to get to the root of it. And for the most part, we do get there once she presses on. It's not always an easy path, but there are certain times when even going through this process where we finally get to the end, that we're still at a point where we don't come together with just one thought, one opinion, one compromise, whatever it is. So finally, when we get to the root of it, that we just have to part ways and say, all right, we did everything we could. We took care of our due diligence. We're still at the same spot. Let's just say, agree to disagree and move on from this. It's not always easy, because I think people always feel there's got to be one side that's right, one side that's wrong. It's not always that way, okay? Even a compromise sometimes can happen with agree to disagree. It's just how people feel. It's just how people can be. So this is something that happens in marriages. Like Jay has mentioned, it's okay. It can happen at some point. It's nothing wrong with it, because at a certain point, you're going to reach a stalemate. That's marriage. Just move on with your life. Continue to try to be happy, because if you dwell on it, that's not going to help either, okay? So it's okay. It's one of the steps. It's all right. Your marriage is okay. All right, so sweep it under the rug. I'm going to be completely transparent. Growing up with my family, that is exactly what my mom would do. If there was an issue and it reached a certain point, she would just sweep it under the rug and just leave it and just move on. Now, I know all of you are saying this is not the right way to go, okay? Because at a certain point, you may come across this situation again, and it was left there. What was left there is resentment, because this person moved on, but another person just brought it up again. So now it's gonna be really bad feelings, because my mom wanted to move from it, and this person wants to bring it up again. It's not good to sweep things under the rug. You have to, even as painful as it could be, you have to deal with the conflict head on. Because if not, then, like I said, it's bad feelings coming to a boiling point. And unfortunately, when I started my relationship and my marriage to my wife, I would do this. I would sweep little things at first under the rug, because I'm like, okay, this isn't such a big deal. I'll just let it be. I'll let it lie. But again, I have a wife that doesn't like doing that. But at that time, we were still at the stage where she thought, she didn't take it as a big deal either, that, okay, this is something small. He doesn't want to deal with it, so let's just leave it. But more years of marriage and knowing your partner and finally realizing, no, this is not a good way to continue with a marriage when you have an argument or something you have to talk about. You should not. Absolutely. This is probably the last thing I would recommend to all married couples, to just let it lie, sweep it under the rug. No. So take it from me, a person that's done it and did not have good results at all. Don't sweep it. Handle it head on, even if that is something that you're not used to, because I'm not. I don't like conflict, but I have to learn. And after a while, you realize, okay, this isn't as bad if you just get ahead of it and have the right partner, which I do.
I'm going to agree. So I believe in just putting your feelings out there. Whatever's bothering you, let your partner know. Because as Mafuchi said, it can bring up resentment down the line. And the longer you hold it in, because it's going to be a big blow up, and it's going to be really over nothing, but it's a bigger issue that you didn't talk about earlier. So I would say, even if you feel the conversation is going to be tough, you want to have those tough conversations, because one is going to build your relationship and your marriage. Because the longer you let something go, one little thing that you don't think it's a big deal, or your spouse doesn't think it's a big deal, is going to blow up, and because you're holding on to whatever the issue was that was initially there. So I 100% agree. Anything you're feeling, because I can't be a person to sweep something under the rug. I have to get it out there. If I'm feeling a certain way, I need to let my wife know, because I know when I go through certain things, I don't like to bug my wife or like to vent to my wife too much just because of what she does for a living. I just want to feel like I'm complaining and all that kind of stuff to her when she needs to relax her brain and calm down from work. So I kind of hold a lot of stuff in. I might write it out or work out or do something else to release that little tension. So the most important thing is to make sure you get it out in the open and not hold on to it, because it will fester, it will hurt your marriage, it will hurt your relationship. So do not sweep anything. I don't care if it's something you feel is minute or your spouse feels is minute. Just get it out, because you will feel better.
Wow, you agree with me. Awesome. Today's a good day. Now, facts versus feelings. What does this mean? Okay, you have an argument, all right? Both you and your partner and your spouse, you're going to bring up what happened, the details, the facts. That doesn't change, okay? That should settle an argument. But no, you are dealing with another person, another being, another situation where a person has feelings about the argument. Because here's the thing. Your partner or you may have all the facts, and you're right. But then it gets to your partner or you saying, right, but this is how it made me feel. And now we're talking about something way different, because this actually has to be part of the argument. You're not in court, okay? Essentially, you're not in court. But a person's feelings now you have to take into consideration, regardless of the facts. Because now a feeling becomes fact that this person feels this. Most of the time, it's not a good feeling. It's a bad feeling. The fact that you're telling them exactly how you are right and it's not making you or the other person feel good about it, that is not a marriage, okay? If you want to be right and you want to win, be a lawyer or be in a career where that benefits you. But in a marriage, unfortunately, it's not always going to deal with factual information, because people have feelings, they have emotions, they're gonna let you know about it, or you, remember, this can happen to you too. And you have to take it all as a whole, take it all as one. That's a relationship, that is a marriage. It's gonna happen. I'm sure for all of you watching, it's happened at some point that you think you're in the right, but now feelings are coming in. That is what it is to be with someone you love. That is a factor, and you cannot ignore it, even if the argument is swaying your way.
Being married, I would say when you do have an argument or disagreement, it's fine to put facts out there. Perfectly fine. The way you view those facts might be different. I would say don't fight to be right. Don't fight to win an argument. And it's okay if your feelings get hurt during an argument. And by that I mean when you say something to your spouse, even though it may be a factual statement, they may take it a certain way. So you really have to know your spouse. Some people are really sensitive to words. Some people, they need to feel to be right, to feel like, okay, in order to win this argument, I have to show everything I know to be factual. Some people are not factual. The key thing for, I'll say, an argument is don't try to fight to win an argument. That's not going to help no one in the situation. When you're going through something, always explain how you feel and make sure the person hears that's how you feel. Because if you were really hurt by whatever the issue was, let them know that. So if they're a good spouse, they'll say, okay, when I did this, they felt this way. I'll know not to do that again going forward. Just be careful. be very careful when you have that type of argument. Just say, hey, there's something I would like to talk about later. Get all the points you want to have. I don't care if you want to write them down, take a screenshot, whatever the case may be of whatever's going on, and have a calm conversation. Because when people's feelings get involved in an argument, logic goes out of the window. If I did something to make you feel a certain way, I apologize, and have that person tell you what they did. You can just keep that in mind going forward, so you're not doing it again. And because some people, when they do get hurt, they don't express what it was their spouse did to make them feel a certain way, so therefore they're doing it over and over again, and the spouse doesn't know, so they keep on doing it without realizing that's hurting you and it's hurting the relationship as well.
Tarot card reading. So, just like Jay and I mentioned, having family and friends, being the third party coming into your marriage, guess what? Tarot card reading also kind of falls in line with that. There are people like this, okay? They bypass people that they know, and they just go to people that they feel have a higher source of information and knowledge. They're mystical. I speak from experience because in my first marriage, my mother took me to her tarot card reader because at that time, my first wife and I, we were having issues. So this is how my mom what she would rely on at a certain point in relationship. So I went with the reader and laid out the cards. I don't know what the cards were, but I just remember the end result. The tarot card reader told me, oh, this first marriage is not going to last. It will end. And hey, rightly so, because that was my now ex-wife, my first marriage. Again, you have to take things with a grain of salt, all right? I feel people in this type of profession, you're probably going there more so they can tell you what you want to hear and confirm your feelings, more so than what's really happening in the relationship or marriage, okay? Again, you really have to figure out what your marriage is if this is the course you're going with. I'll say it myself. I had doubts with my first marriage. That's why I allowed my mom to take me. I won't do that with my marriage now, okay? Again, dealing with it head on, all the conflicts, talk everything out. Leave a third party out of it. If you want to rely on tarot card readers, you want to rely on psychics, I mean, here at the Marriage Pros, we're not going to judge you. We're not going to tell you otherwise. All we are going to say is, make sure this is not a dependency, and at some point, please, have some gumption and just be able to take care of this on your own with your partner. That is probably the best way to do it. It's probably fun the first time, maybe even the second time, but after that, just let it be, let it lie, don't go back. And trust us here as Marriage Pros, your marriage will probably last longer if you stop doing that.
So I have a funny story, right? So when my wife and I was dating, we went actually to a county fair, and there was a tarot card reader there, right? So I said, okay, let's go in there for fun, right? I think I went in there by myself. I can't remember details, like very specific, but one thing that stood out, and we kind of talk about it a little bit later after we got married. The person said two things to me, right? The person said, one, you're with your soulmate. I was like, okay. And two, they said, I think they said you're gonna get married within a year or two. I said, okay, sure, right? Because at that point, I don't remember how long we were dating. And I don't think we were talking about getting married like intensely at that point. Within that time frame, we did end up getting married. So I was like, okay, so they were right. Okay. But I always take it with a grain of salt, because sometime after we left that fair, I kind of put that on my mind. I kind of forgot what they said until we got married. I was like, oh, they were right. But I always take it with a grain of salt, because I do believe people have gifts, and some people, they'll fake like they have gifts. As Mafuchi said, they'll tell you what you want to hear. Because me, I'm a type of person where I want specifics, okay? I need you to tell me X, Y, and Z, okay? I want A, B, C, X, Y, and Z, everything in the middle. So I want details, straight out details. I need to know everything, but I'm more of that personality that way. So I wouldn't go to a tarot card reader now. I just leave everything up into God's hands, and I would have to do my part for things to work in a certain way. All right, so being right versus being happy. We have a video about that, by the way, so go ahead and check that out. Hopefully it'll be in the description below. When it comes to any type of argument, don't fight to be right. Don't fight to be right. It's fine if you are right for an argument, but don't always go into an argument or a disagreement where you have to be right. That's not good for no one. I would say you'd rather be happier and then be right. Because if you're always trying to tell your spouse or try to get the last word about, okay, I'm right, this is X, Y, and Z, eventually they'll get tired of it. It'll be a bigger argument about that particular, you always gotta be right. You gotta be this, you gotta be that. So if it's not a super thing that you're passionate about, just go the happy route. Go the happy route. Don't fight to be right, because it's not good for anyone.
Now, I know the adage is out there that says when you get married, you're essentially on the battlefield and you're in war. Okay, let's get real, somebody's, all right? Let us tell you how it is. If this is your mentality going in, you probably shouldn't be with this person, all right? If you are going into war as in your marriage, just stop it, all right? Just don't get married to this person, number one. But number two, I will kind of echo what Jay says, all right? Both of you are not always going to have your way when it comes to arguments, all right? We talked about it on this list. There's going to be a lot of compromise that needs to come in. Because if you're right, let it be organically that you just fell into the fact that, okay, hey, I was right this time. But what matters between both of you is coming to the resolution where both of you are not just content, but happy with one another. Hopefully more so, because whatever approach you took into this argument, both of you were in line, you were cordial with one another. You always want to be able to continue having good communication skills, because if you fly off the handle, then guess what? You're going to go into one of the other lists that we talked about. But at the end of it all, when you finally get to the conclusion that both of you can agree upon, are you smiling? Because you want to be in good terms and good standing with your partner, the person that you love, the person that you chose with the forever step. That's what it is. Again, if you just want to be right, like I mentioned before, go to a profession where you just argue and be right, essentially a lawyer. Sorry for all you lawyers out there watching, but there you go. But being happy with your marriage, handle the conflict in the best way you can, even if you have to take a break for a moment and then come back to it, okay? Because a marriage is supposed to be for the rest of your life, and the best way in Marriage Pros that we want you to take your marriage is both you and your partner in happiness. Yes, the Disneyland kind of happiness that they give you, the fairy tale. Jay probably has close to that, but at the end of it, reality, both of you happy, joyful, move on to the next day of your marriage, and just be happy. Well, some buddies, you made it to the end, and like we said at the beginning, make sure to click the like, click the subscribe. We're always here to give you advice, and make sure to, all of you, stay married and take it one day at a time if that's the case. And of course, we have the comment section. Let us know what you think about taking care of arguments. How do you handle it? Is it one of the ones that we spoke of on the list? Do you have a different way that you handle an argument? Let us know in the comment section, because like we mentioned here, Marriage Pros, all marriages are different. We'd love to know how you handle your situation with your loved one. So, there's my boy Jay. I am Mr. Mafuchi. We will see you next time.
Later.